Hey, managers of the Super Conference. This is your commissioner, Tyler Burkhart, here with the Week 10 recap. With 10 weeks in the books and only 3 weeks remain, it's still anybody's contest. We, mathematically have 11 teams still in the hunt. And these 3 weeks are really going to dictate who's in and who's out, especially with 2 of the 3 weeks being in your division matchups. I try to save 2 till the end because this is really where the drama builds up. And I love to see that drama build up. So it'll be an exciting 3 weeks. So let's get to the awards and the rankings. That's what, all of us really want to see, right? Best manager of the week. I'm going to kind of go with a tie here between Tim Copeland of San Antonio and Carson of Oakland. The reason why they had 2 huge, crucial victories that they got, Tim got a victory not only over San Diego, but when he had RG3 and Alfred Morris on a bye. Tim also traded for Andy Dalton previously for this week, and he puts up 20-plus fantasy points. So huge moves there to help him get the win this week. Meanwhile, Oakland, remember at the beginning of the season, I said he had like the worst depth in our league. If you compare his depth now to other teams, he may have one of the better or best depths in the league. He's done a really good job getting some good depth. And, all of a sudden, it's not out of the question that Oakland can get to the playoffs. It's certainly, he is a dark horse. But because of these big wins that he's getting and the way he's doing it, he's putting himself into good contention. So those 2 are kind of my managers of the week. The worst manager of the week is Adam Wirtz of Green Bay Legends. Putting up 66 fantasy points, especially when you want to be a title contender, is not a good thing to do. I think he handled the tight end situation all wrong. If you have a player that's hurt, and if they're borderline playing and they're going to play Sunday night or Monday night football, you don't play them. You go with a safe bet because you don't want to put up anybody that doesn't score any points. So he made a good decision in going with Garrett Graham. But if he would have simply played Jared Cook over Owen Daniels, he would have gotten the victory, which he should have. I mean, I had a bad week as it was as well. So, after all, it's a tough loss for Adam, especially because he should have won. But I think he's still going to make the playoffs. I don't think he has to hit the panic button or anything. But that's a tough loss for him, that's for sure. Game of the week, no doubt about it, Fargo and Portland. Both put up 90 points, came down to Monday Night Football. And because of Fargo's victory, he almost has a guaranteed spot in the playoffs. All he has to do, I think, now is get a win in the division. So if he wins in the division, I think he has it locked up, especially knowing he plays LA Quakes the last week. If he can get another win besides that victory, I think he is a definite 100% lock. Meanwhile, Portland's 5-5. And because of his weak divisional record at 1-3, he all of a sudden now becomes a long shot of getting in the playoffs. Has to pretty much win out in order to get in the playoffs. So interesting game there, and really has opened up the playoff board as far as who's in and who's out. We'll get to that in a second. Upset special is probably me over Green Bay Legends, especially because of the rankings and because of just our overall team. I got a lucky break that I didn't have to play Percy Harvin or Owen Daniels, so that was really nice. But it's still an upset in itself. It's not a very good upset, I'll admit that. So we'll just leave it how it is. The most valuable player of the week, I'm going to go with Jimmy Graham of Indianapolis Eyeball. He put up 26 fantasy points, which for a tight end, that is huge. I mean, that's almost unheard of. And I also want to highlight that too, just because of, how many points Indianapolis got. He's only 9 points down of Green Bay Legends of first place now. And he stays ahead of Fargo in total points, which that could be the tiebreaker of if you get in or out of the playoffs is total points. So that's crucial that Indianapolis stays ahead of him so he can stay in the playoffs. So really interesting in what happened there. And because of those reasons, that's why I want to make Jimmy Graham my MVP of the week. Fantasy dud, no doubt about it. Eli Manning, second week in a row for Portland. He only puts up 2.7 fantasy points. And really his performance was the difference between a win and a loss for Portland. Real upsetting. I don't know if it's arm fatigue or not, but Eli's got to turn it around to help Portland get back in the thick of things. Otherwise, he'll be gone. Okay, so let's get to the rankings after Week 10 here. We had a few changes and we shuffled around a few teams, but nothing major. First, you'll notice that Seattle Sasquatches is now the new #1 team in the rankings. The only reason why I switched him in Green Bay was because Seattle is healthier than Green Bay. Once Green Bay gets a healthy Percy Harvin back, an Owen Daniels back, I may switch it again. But for right now, I'm going to keep Seattle ahead of Green Bay. But I do want to highlight Indianapolis, I think, is now in their tier. I think there's 3 supreme teams. I really like Indianapolis. He's made moves while other teams like San Diego hasn't. And it once again shows you have to make moves if you want to, especially coming down to the playoffs here. If you want to be a title contender, you got to do that. And Indianapolis has, so that's why he moves up. San Diego down to 4. Fargo moves up 1 spot to 5, and Portland rounds out that top 6. So I still think if Portland keeps his team intact, I think he could win out and win the AFC West or NFC West. I still think it's doable, and I'm still going to predict it. But if he doesn't, I think San Antonio's got the next best shot. Oakland at 8, and Yankees at 9. Basically between 7 and 9, I think you could shuffle those teams anywhere. But Yankees is really a dark horse. I mean, we're gonna sound like a broken record here, but everyone can see the potential in the Yankees lineup because everyone's stock is going up. It's amazing. So something to look out for there. Last thing I want to highlight, the last 2 teams that have a small chance, I think, are myself as Stimulus as well as the Frenzy. And, it's only because we're 1 game out of first place. The other thing that's actually probably helping the Frenzy more than is that he's got a better divisional record. But when you look at his lineup, it's pretty weak. And it's going to be very inconsistent, hopping from maybe 1 week he puts up 60, next week he puts up 100. So I think because of that, and because of he almost has to win out, I don't think he gets it done. But that's why him and I are long shots. The other 5 teams, I think, are mathematically out. And if they haven't sold yet, I think they need to do that before this week's trade deadline. All right, so let's get to the infamous approaching Week 11. This is going to be awesome. Game of the week, I'm not going to even pick one. Let's just say NFC West matchups. It's the only playoff race that all 4 teams are still in the hunt for, the crown. And it's just going to be awesome for all of us to watch. I can't wait. Real exciting. I'm going to say must wins for both San Fran and Portland. If either of those 2 teams lose, they're, I think, mathematically eliminated from the race. I think the team that can afford a loss most out of this group is San Fran, just because his last 2 matchups, I think, look very promising, especially one being against Minnesota Bryans. So because of that, I think he's the one team that he can afford a loss, but really all these teams want to win in this division. Should be exciting. My upset special for the week, even though he's mathematically eliminated, I think Blackout could upset Legends. Until Harvin and Daniels get healthy, Legends is kind of your average team. So because of that, definitely Blackout could win this. And, one of the themes we've seen is defenses this year. Defenses have really helped teams win. Tampa Bay defense for Fargo this week was a good example. And Atlanta defense, that could be the difference for Blackout this week to upset the Legends. So we'll have to see what happens there, but that's my upset special for Week 11. Finally, the prediction winners, Chris Pollock for Indianapolis and Aaron Middlestad of San Diego got 5 right. A little tougher week for everyone. So they'll get the 5 FAB dollars each. Otherwise, just as another reminder, trade deadline is this Friday. In case there's a trade accepted on Friday that for whatever reason doesn't go through, let me know and I can push it through on Saturday, but there will be no other exceptions. So make sure you get them through. I'm your Commissioner, Tyler Burkhart. Best of luck and game on.